It's your boy Davidjus. I just want to touch on some of the things that are basically happening in our world. So there's actually a lot of stuff going on. The most important thing in my mind is what's going on with Tekashi 6ix9ine and his rant on Instagram. He obviously went off on Billboard. He went off on Ariana Grande. He's basically saying that Billboard is not legit when they're saying that a certain song is number one on the charts. So he's basically saying that people can actually go and buy placement. 6ix9ine is basically saying, and I'm sure you guys all saw his rant on Instagram, which got millions of views, but he's basically saying that Billboard did not account for almost 20 million streams of his song GOOBA, which is why it has not hit number one. So he's basically saying that Billboard illegally disqualified 20 million streams so GOOBA can drop down and the people who bought the number one, which was Stuck With You, can go to number one. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff to consider when it comes to the Billboard charts and metrics and how these things are sort of rated. But, I do think that 6ix9ine's song, obviously, I think it was one of the first. Actually, no, it was the most viewed hip-hop video on YouTube in the first 24 hours, topping Eminem's Kill Shot, which is absolutely crazy. So to be coming out from prison and immediately coming into even more success than you had before, and I think he said on his Instagram, he said, I came out of, people are mad because he came out of jail, prison, solitary confinement, actually, I think. He came home to a bag. He came home to a deal. I know he's doing some business with Jay-Z. So there's a lot of stuff happening there. Curious to see what you guys think about 6ix9ine. But anyways, guys, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on what's going on with the coronavirus situation. Obviously, here in LA, we're still on quarantine. People are now required to wear masks when they go outside. Things are getting a little more serious, but things are also getting not so serious because I was in Newport Beach last weekend and there were tons of kids out at parties. People are starting to get a little bit looser, and we're starting to see that maybe there might be a hope of an opening here coming soon. I was talking to a couple of friends who live out in New York, and they were saying that it's still completely dead. So I'm curious to see how New York and LA sort of progress over the next few months in terms of how they're reacting to the quarantine situation. As of now, in Los Angeles County, there are almost 38,000 confirmed cases with 1,800 deaths. And California as a whole has almost 79,000 cases with 3,261 deaths, which is a pretty high percentage based on what we see as a confirmed cases. So I'm curious to see how that number changes. In the U.S., we're at 1.5 million cases with almost 100,000 deaths. We're at about 91,000 deaths, which is pretty crazy, but obviously from what I know about it, it's typically the people who have pre-existing conditions, or if you're a younger person, a child, or if you're maybe an older person, again, with pre-existing conditions, you're more likely to be impacted by the virus. I actually know a couple people personally who've been affected, whatever, but they're okay. They just had to kind of take it easy for a week or two. And they said it was very similar to sort of the common cold or whatever. So quick update on what's going on in the stock market. There's a company by the name of Serrento Therapeutics, which the stock symbol is SRNE, basically saying that they're somehow going to come up with a coronavirus treatment. Their stock went from $10 this morning at market open, and it's now at $6.46. So if you bought in at $10, let's say you bought 1,000 shares, you're now down over $3.50 a share, which can add up to a lot of money if you did invest a lot in that stock. And I actually did invest in the stock last week. I got in at about $4.50 and was able to get out prior to the weekend. So I kind of hit it perfectly on the head in terms of timing, but curious to see how that stock goes up and down. And it's definitely one of the more volatile stocks on the market as of now, especially in sort of the biotech space. I'm curious to see how that stock progresses. So there was also a recent poll done asking Americans whether or not they would purchase products made in China. Now, the responses from Americans are that 40% of America said they would not buy products from China, which it doesn't really make sense because whether we like it or not, pretty much everything we use, our iPhones, for example, you cannot make this thing in the U.S. It's not cost effective for companies, and the cost of the iPhone would go up exponentially, and I don't think you'd want to spend $2,000 for your iPhone. So when people, I think people are definitely just frustrated with the coronavirus situation. I think that's illogical because there's so much that China has offered us, and just in the history of business, in the sense that everything we use is from China. So I think that's unrealistic. But it's funny to see that 40% of Americans say that they would not use a product made in China. So what's funny is even products that say made in America, those are not necessarily made in America. You can have a product that's been manufactured in China, brought to the US, and then maybe there's some tweaks that are made to the product or designs that are shifted or certain things like that can happen in the US. But if a portion of the manufacturing was done in China, you're allowed to legally put, made in US on the label. So now in terms of some updates in the world of sports, The Athletic came out with sort of an update list of all the different sports organizations and sort of what their plan is moving forward. MLB has proposed a medical and safety protocol for players. The MLS plans for returns to play in Orlando. Back to the MLB, they really don't have any plan in terms of basically when the new season is going to start, unfortunately. You've got NASCAR set to return on May 17th. I don't know how many people really care about NASCAR. Obviously, in the Midwest, it's really popping, but I don't think that's something that's really going to affect us here on the West Coast or people on the East Coast as much. As for the ones that we all actually care about, the NFL and the NCAA still don't have an update. They are probably still trying to figure out what the best move is. In terms of the NBA, obviously the next season is suspended. So it's sort of a waiting game for all of us sports fans. And then some more updates in music. Fellow brown boy Nav's album has hit #1 on the Billboard Charts. So everybody go check out Good Intentions. Shout out to Nav. Shout out to Nav one time for sure. And also Ariana Grande and Bieber's song Stuck With You has hit #1 on the Billboard Charts. I'm guessing Tekashi 6ix9ine is not too happy. Yeah, guys, there's a lot going on in the world. Obviously, it's a crazy time for all of us. We're all still stuck inside, and I do hope that we kind of get a chance to go out in public and do the normal things that we're used to doing, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit, just being stuck indoors. It's not always the most fun. So you gotta, come up with creative things to keep yourself busy. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, and I'll catch you guys soon. Have a great week. Happy Monday. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.